Salutations, ladies and Doom. Welcome to podcast The Storm, where social awkward outcasts, crazy weirdos, and all online nerds convene, talk, and debate all things pop culture. With me, as always, is my co-host, the nerdy occultist, aka the Authenticator, Dalton L. Mortimer.
Hello, everyone. We are officially post the equinox, which means the countdown to autumn has begun. We will next time you see us, we will be in that glorious, glorious October country once again.
Yes, and I'm your host last time. I want to be the brains of pop culture. How's everyone doing tonight?
Like I said, I'm in a good mood because I had a really fun time last weekend, and because we are officially in my half of the year again. And God, thank just thank God, because summer almost kills me every year, and I didn't even like summer all that much before I bound myself to Queen Mab. So like I am glad we are in the final days of it. Technically, summer does not end until Samhain. That's what Samhain literally means. It translates to summer's end. But we are almost there. I could not be happier.
Give me one second. I'm loading the first thing.
Yeah. And just like on cue, something showed up to harsh my mellow. But at least I get to yell at James Cameron for being a hack. Again.
You really gotta learn to stop spoiling shit, man.
You were in the process of loading it. I was hoping that by the time I was done talking, it would be up, so as to be appropriate. But
My
it did
computer is
not
a potato. You forget that a lot, right?
Yeah. Someday I'm gonna buy you a new computer.
No, I have, dude. I have planned to get one within the next year or so. So.
But you desperately fucking you need a new computer almost as much as I need a new phone.
And both of us are very stubborn on getting new ones, aren't we?
This is also true. Fair enough. But anyway, on to the yelling at James Cameron for being a hack portion of the program.
New trailer for Avatar: Fire and Ash. Okay, so I also want to point this out. Yes, we are basically doing a trailer week because a lot of trailers have come out, and there really isn't much in terms of. To be fair, it was kind of my decision on the fact that we just do trailers simply because I do not think we would have time to do all the articles we would want to get through that we kind of missed the last couple weeks.
Right, and assuming that technical problems happen, that will also cut down on stuff. But trailers are much easier and much quicker to do.
Right. Well, that and also we have.
Plus, the more effort we could skip on this week, the more effort we get to put into the coming weeks. Because again, glorious October country once again.
Really, honestly, it's actually the one. This has been the first time we've really been planning ahead for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly.
Granted, part of that was me being degenerate again, but we'll get there next week.
Honestly, it was my idea. So.
No, I
suggested it. I think he ran with it.
I could have sworn I was the one who suggested it, but I could be wrong. It was 3 Thursdays ago. I thought I was the one that suggested it. Anyway, spoilers notwithstanding, you will have to wait until next week to see what form that degeneracy took.
Right.
But yeah.
Anyway, so I feel like I had something else. No. Yeah, trailer week or trailer. We're doing all trailers.
Yep. And in honor of the stupidity of Way of Water, Rain Goo.
Mecha. No. Fuck.
Rain Goo.
This is the only pure thing in this world. The fire came from the mountain, burnt our forest. My people cried for help. But Eva did not come.
Huh.
Okay, I am now going to be even more petty than usual and point out that this could have been established in the previous movie. I wouldn't mention it except for there were only 4 things that were established in the previous movie, and the previous movie was almost 3 hours long. We will get into more detail about how much of this movie's plot seemingly can be established or could have been established in the previous movie and been a much better use of everyone's time, but I won't spoil it now because I will let the trailer give context before bitching it. Why the fuck wasn't this in the previous movie? It could have easily been, because sweet fuck all other than 4 things happened in the previous movie.
I mean, it's
3
also.
fucking hours.
I do think it's interesting that we're getting the villain's kind of origin as well.
I mean, it's nice of James to finally establish that some Navi can be evil, although they already kind of did that with the Avatar Marines in the previous one. So
that wasn't really. That doesn't. I don't think that counts. I don't think that counts.
yeah, I would agree. I think the Avatar Marines led by Ghost Korich are more. They still have more loyalty to the human faction, although that's likely going to change. Not to spoil what the rest of the trailer is doing, but anyway, Brain Goo.
Yeah.
Okay, damning. Go ahead. You go first.
I think you mentioned this when we watched the trailers for Way of Water. But it feels like they kind of abandoned bioluminescence, right?
They did. Also, there really isn't that much like quality difference in the VFX between this and the 2 previous ones. Although one thing I will say, although this is kind of damning it with faint praise, I remember being less impressed with Way of Water because it looked like the trailers we reacted to looked unfinished. And again, damning it with faint praise, but it looks like they at least finished the VFX this time before releasing the trailer. Granted, that's not the highest of bars, and frankly, all of Hollywood should be ashamed with how often they just straight up let unfinished VFX stand in the final draft. But one thing James Cameron has over the MCU and other action movies in today's day and age is at least he takes the time to let things finish rendering before putting them on screen. But again, that's less James Cameron getting it right and all of Hollywood being too lazy to fucking finish rendering things. Moving on. Brain you.
Yep.
The world is much deeper than you imagine.
I have no particular commentary here. Like I said, one good thing about this trailer as compared to all the trailers for Way of Water is at least this trailer looks finished. Still nothing to write home about because photorealistic naturalism continues to nerf this franchise, and the utter lack of stylization pisses me off. But moving on. Brain you.
All right. Yep.
Protect your sister. Yes, sir. Stay under cover. What does that always say?
Sully stick together.
No, the other one.
Sully never quits.
That's right. Sully's never quit.
Wait, there's another new baby Smurf?
No, it's Took.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because if they're gonna just replace the brother that died in the previous one, not that it amounted to anything, then I would be well within my rights for screaming at James Cameron again. But they avoided doing the single stupidest possible thing they could do. So fair enough, I suppose. That's the bar for Avatar, and by this is the bar for Avatar, I mean this is the bar for James Cameron's Avatar, because we all know that the bar for the actual Avatar is so much higher than this. Moving on. Brain goo.
Oh, sorry. Let me get to tab. And
How do you still live?
What if every human being on Earth could live here without a mask? Then the Na'vi people will be gone.
Whoa.
You want to spread your fire.
Okay, so now that they've established that this is Quaritch finding his tribe, essentially, which is the main purpose of the Ash people in the story, now I can complete my complaint earlier about this shit could have been established in the previous movie and it would have been a much better use of everyone's time. The reason I say that is because while I understand the desire to not want to make things seem cluttered or overwhelming or overwhelm people with too much plot at once, that criticism doesn't work, or that counter to my criticism doesn't work, because only 4 meaningful things happened in the previous movie. And 3 of those 4 things could have been established in the first act of the previous movie. Namely, Sully and Neytiri go and fuck off to the reef people, and they take their kids with them. Quaritch is returned to life in an avatar body of his own. Quaritch has a son that will become relevant to proceedings, and there is some kind of quasi-messianic female Jesus thing going on with the daughter of Sigourney Weaver and presumably Awa. Like, 3 out of those 4 things could have happened in the first act of the previous movie, and frankly could have happened in the first act of the previous movie, even if the previous movie had been a normal, like, 1 hour 40-minute or 1 hour 50-minute runtime movie. Meaning that in the course of the fucking 3-hour movie, the 3-hour previous movie, we established only 4 or actually no, there is a 5th thing. The 5th thing that we established in the previous movie was we're switching from unobtainium to whale brain goo because it stops human aging and shit. Because James Cameron wanted to whine about whaling. But yeah, those 4 of those 5 things could have been established in the first act of the previous movie, and then we could have spent the latter 2 acts of the previous movie establishing the Ash people and Quaritch finding his evil counter tribe to Sully. That would have been a much better and more satisfying and better use of everyone's time if they had had the foresight to put that in the previous movie. But as we have it now, 4 out of the 5 things that were established in the previous movie could have happened in the first act of the previous movie, and the rest of the movie was filler. And now we have a whole nother movie just to have Quaritch find his evil counter tribe to the Forest people and now the Reef people. So I hope to God there's more complex plot than just this is the movie where Quaritch finds his evil counter tribe. Because if Fire and Ash does what Way of Water did and have fuck all but 5 plot points that could have been established for the most part in the first act, I'm going to be very annoyed because this is going to be yet another 3 almost 4-hour movie in which very little happens if this trailer basically amounts to the sum and substance of the movie. It doesn't have to. They can bring in other stuff. In fact, I think I've heard rumors that they're going to establish another tribe, the Air tribe, in this movie. So it doesn't have to be a repeat of the mistakes of the second one. But I don't have much faith in James Cameron. He loves this setting so much, and he loves creating visual porn of this setting so much that he doesn't let the plot move at anything like an organic or reasonable pace, as evidenced by the fact that he made a 3-hour movie that only contains 5 fucking plot points in the previous movie. Moving on, though. Brain Goo.
I wonder how Quaritch's relationship with Spider is going to play into this.
I would suspect the way they're going to go is they both still have positive feelings for each other, but the wedge is going to be driven further between them because Spider is going to.
Earlier in the trailer, it showed the Fire and Ash what are they called again?
The Ash people. I don't know what their Navi word is because we have
Navi. Okay, Fire and Ash, Navi, in the presence of Spider. Like it looked like they were conversing. So
yeah. So my guess is what we're going to get is Quaritch finds his tribe and kind of does the Antichrist equivalent of what Jake did in the 2 previous movies. And he's going to want to convince Spider to join the Ash people so that they can burn the rest of Pandora to the ground and, pull the we can rule Pandora together as father and son, blah, blah thing. Spider is in turn probably going to try and convince Quaritch to abandon the destructive, anarchistic nature of the Ash people and join the good guys, and probably the quasi-messianic nature of the Sigourney Weaver character is going to come into this, and we might finally get in this movie, in the 3rd movie in the fucking franchise, more information about what Awa is and what she means to the actual setting, apart from just being a generic Gaia stand-in like she's been up until now. So yeah, that's my guess. My guess is Quaritch and Spider are gonna have their Sins of the Father duality. We're gonna get more information, hopefully, on Sigourney Weaver characters' messianic significance, and
okay, it was Kiri, Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, okay. I don't remember their names very well because I've watched Little Platoon's analysis of Way of Water far more times than I've watched Way of Water. So, and he gives characters he gives characters humorous euphemistic names when he does breakdowns of stuff.
And the Fire and Ash lady, that's Varang, and I believe they're called the Una.
Okay, so we now hopefully know what the Navi word for them is, assuming that you got it right. It kind of annoys me that we didn't get that mentioned at any point during this trailer. I mean, I know we as the audience are probably going to euphemistically refer to them as their English name for the majority of the proceedings, but on the basis that you want to have some kind of in-universe lore, it would be nice if the characters in the movie used the in-character names for them instead of using the English euphemism. And in a better sci-fi franchise, we as the audience would also be more inclined to using the Na'vi words for them because the Na'vi lore would actually be more distinctive, and we would be more willing to use terms from the interior of the universe instead of anglicizing it. But that's holding James Cameron to the standards of every other sci-fi franchise in the universe, and apparently he can't meet those anymore. He used to be able to. In his prime, James Cameron could actually make meaningful contributions to the lore of the franchises he worked on, but those days seem far in the rearview mirror at this point. But brain goo.
Okay.
Across the world, you need me.
We must fight! I call upon the warrior mother.
Okay, so I was right. They are going to, in fact, put at least a little bit more emphasis on the particulars of Eywa and Eywa's lore at some point in this movie, probably as it relates to Kiri being the chosen one, or the Jesus analog. Granted, it's about fucking time, James. We're on the third movie. Anyway, brain goo.
I'll kill you! I swear!
Okay, so yeah, that basically confirmed my theory about what's likely to happen. Quaritch is going to make his come to the side of burning everything to the ground. We have cookies and, father and son and yay sort of motif. Spider is going to go, why would you destroy literally everything? It is evil. You should instead come with me to the good guys' side and everything. The most interesting thing that I could see happening in this setup is Spider actually manages to convince Quaritch to come to the good side with the non-destructive Na'vi, and the Ash people, the Ona, kill him for betraying them. That would be the most interesting way this could resolve. Granted, it would completely defeat the purpose of, Quaritch coming back in the second one, but it would be it would probably be the most interesting way that this setup could resolve itself at this point. If he actually manages to get through to Quaritch and give him a little bit of character depth, and then he ends up dying because the people he allied himself with kill him as a result of that character development, it would at least be a good twist, even if it would have like a record scratch, wait, what just happened thing. But then again, to be fair, in the previous movie they did that kind of thing with the son that died. So it would actually fit perfectly well with what's been established up until now, especially because, unless I'm misremembering Way of Water, no one ever actually chastises Sully for abandoning the forest people in favor of the reef people. So, like, I hope at least at some point that comes up. I hope one of the forest Navi come to him and are like, why did you leave us for the reef people, considering that his original reasoning for leaving the forest people was he didn't want them to get hurt, but he is basically left with that same choice at the end of Way of Water, and in character logic wise, he should leave on that same basis at the end of Way of Water. But the chief talks him down a bit, and he goes, "Fine, I'll stay and fight." To which my response would be, if I were one of the Forest Navi, why in the fuck didn't you make that same logic when it came to abandoning our tribe, damn it? Moving on. Brain goo.
Uh, I don't really have anything.
Yep. I have nothing but thinly veiled contempt for James Cameron's Avatar. I will always and forever continue to make the case that when most people hear the name Avatar, they do not think of Na'vi or Pandora or indistinguishable blue people. They think of Aang, or maybe Korra. And even then, most of the people who hear Avatar don't even ever think of Korra. They think of the original series. As it should be, for Korra was horribly mishandled, as we've already gone into so many times over. Although not as horribly mishandled as James Cameron appears to be mishandling his own franchise, so fair enough. Legend of Korra can hold that accolade to its heart. You may have been a complete and utter clusterfuck, but at least you weren't as bad as James Cameron's version of this. Anyway, moving to some of the more positive trailers, because there are actually quite a few of those, to the point that we had like 3 potential this could be a positive
Yeah,
thing this
give me
week.
a sec. I was getting loaded while you were talking.
Mhm.
I feel like this might be one of our shorter streams, to be honest.
Most likely.
To be fair, I am lightheaded from earlier, so probably for the best.
The nosebleed thing.
Thank you for bringing up something personal, Dalton.
You may
say
need
that-
to go
I
lay
say
down
that-
after.
No, I'm fine. I've been drinking water, but
Okay, I was gonna say, because if you're still lightheaded from that, then you may want to go lay
it's not.
down at
Oh,
some
no.
point.
It wasn't. It's not lightheaded. It's just like a little headache. To be fair, I've been getting those lately. Probably because I need to. I don't know. Maybe it's because I keep waking up so early.
That could do it. But anyway, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
The first of 2 positive things this week.
Yeah. Giant King trailer. First one.
Speaking of the original Avatar franchise, the joke there, of course, being that a lot of the same people who worked on the original Avatar also worked on the Dragon Prince IP. Granted, I still wish they were broken up a little bit more like old school seasons than new school seasons, but I will be beating that drum until the end of time.
All right.
I'm trying to think of any in-universe foods that could work as the paused word, but I'm not coming up with anything, so just default to dragon fruit, I suppose.
Oh, jelly tarts.
Okay, yes. Since this is in, I want to say this is in the same multiverse as Avatar. I know they didn't ever establish a multiverse technically, but Sokka's voice actor plays the main character, so fuck you. I can multiverse fucking headcanon if I want to. Jelly tarts.
Yeah, so they did another time skip. Clearly, with like how big Zim has gotten,
Mhm.
and since it's called the Dragon King, so
Yeah. Presumably, Ez is no longer a prince.
yep. Well, no, Ezra's already king in the later seasons. He was young king, remember?
Right, yeah, so they should have changed the title earlier then, but okay.
No,
I'm-
Zim, the Dragon Prince.
Okay,
You're confusing the two.
to be fair, I think it's a parallel we're supposed to make, because the Dragon Prince could either refer to Zim being the Dragon Prince, or it can refer to the bond between Zim and Ez, being as Ez is therefore the Dragon Prince, i.e., the prince that befriended the dragon. I don't think that's me being an asshole there. I think that's a parallel we're supposed to draw. I think that ambiguity is intentional. Or if not there, I added something that should probably have been a thing, even if it wasn't intended to be. Anyway, jelly tarts.
All right. It all looks still pretty good.
Yeah. My only No, I'm not gonna say it again. I've already bitched about the way it's broken up. I genuinely think the time skips would have been more impactful though in the old school like 20 episode season model, because then the time skips could have occurred at the end of each season and would have flowed a little bit more organically. Anyway, jelly tarts.
All right. Now we're gonna see grown-up Ezran.
Which is good.
Jelly tart.
Jelly tarts.
Holy shit! He looks a lot like his dad.
He does. Although to be fair, Zim kind of probably looks like Avizandum. at this point.
I did not think Ezrin could look badass. Huh.
I mean, this is the same team, or at least some of the same team as the original Avatar. So
I'm just saying,
I'm-
like, he was a goofy kid in like the first couple seasons, so it's just like,
to be fair, Aang was an ADD 12-year-old for the majority of the first season of Avatar too. So there is that.
all right.
Jelly tart.
Yep. Oh yeah, they have a Kickstarter. I totally forgot about that.
In what context would they have it? Do they have a Kickstarter? I thought Netflix was handling most of the production and things.
Yeah, I don't remember the specifics. I had heard about it, but I thought it was. I kind of thought it was bullshit, to be fully honest.
Did Netflix try to cancel them before the story was done? Which, to be fair, they do a lot with shows.
Yeah, I don't get that.
They could have easily had like 2 or 3 more seasons of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and they really fucking should have doubled. They really should have fucking done more with the whole Eldritch Horrors thing. Speaking of Sabrina. Also, speaking of things that Netflix needs to fucking get
Trust me.
off their asses and do something with already. Yes, Tresse season 2 when, and also Tresse season 3, 4, and 5 when, because I really fucking like Tresse, and it introduced me to a whole ass like field of folklore that I wasn't really paying much attention to prior to Tresse. So just on that basis alone, I must have more Tresse. And yes, I am planning on getting the fucking trades at some point for Tresse. The like first 5 of them are available on Amazon, and they are in my fucking cart because Tresse is fucking awesome. And if the original comics are anything as awesome as the show, I welcome to the same shelf upon which I put John Constantine, Alexandra. Anyway, Jelly Tart.
Actually, that's it for this one. Yeah.
Next.
All right, give me a sec. Okay. Sorry, just add. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is the teaser for Rayla and Callum.
Jelly tarts.
Come on, kill me. You will merely send me back to the heavens. In 7 years and 19 days, my stars will align, and I shall return.
I mean, there's something kind of derpy about the extra 19 days, but I think that's supposed to be I think that's supposed to be comedic. So, like, I guess the stars are indifferent to Erebos' emotions as they are to mine. So I guess you can't rely on the stars being in the perfect alignment so that it can be exactly 17 years or 7 years rather. But it is a little derpy that the extra 19 days are added on there. I feel you, Erebos. It's annoying when the stars just won't fucking align to be dramatically convenient, damn it. Jelly tarts.
Seven years, 19 days later. So what? Got like a day or two before he comes back.
According to that clip we just saw, this is literally supposed to be the day he's coming back. Because again, those extra 19 days, poor guy, they just
I
wouldn't.
thought it was 20.
No, you could go back and check, but I'm almost positive it was 17 years and 19 days exactly. That's why I thought it was kind of funny that poor guy couldn't get them to line up at exactly 7 years to be dramatically convenient. But yeah, so he's supposed to be coming back at exactly this time. Granted, this is a nitpick, but what I would have done is done the 7 years and 19 days, and then skipped 7 years ahead of time so that the season could take place in the 19 days with them trying to prevent him from coming back. But I'm not going to question the writers or creators of Dragon Prince apart from the aforesaid issue of God, I miss the old school season structure.
Moving on.
Jelly tarts.
Oh, look. 10 fingers and 10 toes. Just like Daddy.
Okay, so am I being the asshole, or are they literally implying he was reincarnated as their baby?
Some people have pointed out that the baby has to be important if they're showing it in the teaser.
I mean, they said, like Erebos said, in 7 years and 19 days I shall return, and then the like
I mean, I
transition
assumed he
caption.
would have I assumed he meant he'd be reconstituted, like in his full form. So
I assumed that too, but I don't really believe in coincidence. And he said 7 years and 19 days, and the info caption said 7 years and 19 days later. I think the trailer is at least edited to imply that Erebos was reincarnated as their baby. either they're editing the trailer so as to make that the red herring, or they assumed everyone would assume he'd be reconstituted, and the twist is going to be that he got reincarnated as their baby. I don't know which, but either the trailer or the show seems to be leading the audience to a red herring. I don't know whether it's the trailer or whether it's the like formatting of the show, but one of these things is leading us on a wild goose chase. Anyway, jelly tarts.
You always suck the fun out of everything.
What I'm good at, man. Sorry.
No, you're not. Don't. Okay. Don't say that.
Fair enough. Okay. I will rephrase it. I wish I was constitutionally capable of being sorry. I, however, am not, and so I apologize for the red herring that I might have just accidentally left there.
Again, I think we can both agree that the baby is clearly important. If prior to we heard Erebos say that, and they're showing the kid, I think that's what we can both agree on.
Yeah, either it's a coincidence and they're going to think the baby is him, or they're going to assume, like you just did, that Erebos is going to reconstitute himself somehow, and the twist is it's going to be the baby. I don't know which, but one of these two possibilities is most likely the case. Either they're going to assume that the baby is Erebos reincarnated, and wind up probably. I don't know whether they would do the trying to avert the prophecy is what makes the prophecy come about thing with him. Like trying to make the baby go good is going to wind up making the baby go evil. Or if they're going to do the thing where they don't realize it until it's too late, and then Erebos' cackling, maniacal laughter is going to come out of the baby's mouth at some point. I'm not sure which of these two potentials, which of these two divergent roads the story is going on, but I'm almost positive it's at least one of them. Alternatively, what they could be doing is Erebos does get reconstituted like we think he would, and the birth of the baby at the same time is going to, like, astrologically give the baby the power of thwarting Erebos.
Either that, or well, I don't remember what was the specifics with his daughter. Because this is a daughter. This is their daughter, I believe. Rayla and Callum's.
Right.
Could it be a reincarnation of Erebos' daughter?
And then she, in the body of the baby, has to convince her dad to come off of the evil ledge already.
Yeah.
I could see that. I lean more in the direction of like the astrological significance, because Erebos is a star elf, and his star is what he said. So something about those stars is probably going to have some kind of astrological significance.
Yeah, no.
So,
I'm spitballing here. So
yeah.
Anyway, jelly tarts.
Jelly tarts.
And the cutest little horn nubbies.
Okay, possibly once again emphasizing the red herring, because that is at least a possibility. They could think those horn nubs were Rayla's, but they could actually be Erebos' if they're doing the he got reincarnated as the baby storyline.
Well,
again, there are lots of options here, but one of those options. Yeah.
It's literally a half human, half elf baby, so of course they're gonna have.
I know, but I could at least see the possibility of Rayla and Callum thinking those are Rayla's horn nubs, but it turns out to be Erebos. If they're doing the he got reincarnated as baby thing.
Also, I'm sorry, I just want to point this out. I had seen someone mention that Callum looks a bit like Doctor Strange here with the beard and everything.
Yeah, a little bit, especially with the little bit of white in his hair.
Okay, question. Because I had seen some people not liking Callum with the beard. What do you think?
I don't like Callum with the beard either. Like, obviously, time skipping is somewhat important in this story. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep doing it repeatedly. But he still reads to me as a younger protagonist. Maybe this season will change my mind. Maybe he'll have matured enough that as a character that him being a adult works. But he still reads as a younger protagonist to me.
Okay, why so? I'm just curious.
I think part of it is the voice actor. I don't want to say it's the voice actor's fault, but maybe it's just because I keep hearing Sokka a little bit with this voice actor. But
it's the Sokka's voice actor.
Yeah, but if you're gonna have the character age up, I'd like a little bit more gruffness in his voice to indicate that aging up.
Motherfucker, you don't have a gruff voice, and you're
Compared,
30.
right? But compared to when I was younger, it is a little bit gruffer than it was when I was younger. That's the thing. Your voice changes over time. So if you're doing a story with time skips, these are the kinds of small details you have to pay attention to. Your voice changes over time, and I know the voice actor for fucking Sokka is more than capable of doing a different voice for Callum now that he's older. So why wasn't somebody paying attention to that? If you're gonna make time skips a central motif of your story, then you got to give your voice actor the appropriate notes to carry that through. The only exception being characters like Erebos, who are more or less immortal. His voice doesn't have to change because immortals don't age, but humans very much do.
Moving on.
Yep, jelly tarts.
She's so beautiful. Oh, she's only been here a few moments. How can I possibly love her more than I ever imagined I could love anything?
Because she's going to be so strong and brave and creative and clever.
Okay, they're laying on the proud parent a little bit too thick. I'm expecting the twist ending.
Okay, Don, I'm gonna say this. You don't have the best relationship with your parents, so I don't think you understand positively well.
Right, fair enough. But there's a difference. There's a difference between doing it because that's how the characters would feel, and doing it to an almost over the top degree to emphasize it, which leads me back to the is it going to be revealed that Erebos got reincarnated as a baby? Because that's how I would foreshadow this twist if I were doing the Erebos got reincarnated as the baby storyline as one of the writers. Overemphasize Callum and Rayla's parental feelings and the innocence of the baby, and then when it turns out that the baby is actually Erebos reincarnated, mic drop. It would be a perfect way of setting it up.
All right. Jelly tarts.
Jelly tarts.
And good. Because she's ours.
She's ours. So we had talked about a lot of different name options. Now that she's here and you can look into her eyes.
Yeah, I know her name.
Okay, it is slightly weird to me if they didn't have this discussion already, but I guess for the benefit of the audience.
They had no. That's not what the conversation meant.
What do you mean?
Okay, I want to hear what you interpreted from what they were saying just now.
I just thought it was weird that they hadn't picked the baby's name already. Typically when parents know they're expecting, they have the baby's name picked out months in advance, whether it's a
Okay,
girl or a boy or whatever.
okay, but they said they discussed multiple names, but because
Right, again, like I said, for the benefit of the audience, given the time skip, I get it. It's just a little bit weird that they didn't. Parents usually have the names picked out already, is what I'm saying. So I understand why they are having this discussion now, so that the audience knows the character's name, given the time skip. But it is unusual for parents not to have at least narrowed down, okay, if it's a boy, we're calling it this. If it's a girl, we're calling it this.
I think you're being overly
Obviously, in a medieval setting, there's no ultrasound to know whether it's a boy or a girl. Although I suppose magic could have told them that ahead of time. But yeah,
I think you're being pedantic.
it's obviously just there because, well, if we time skip ahead, we can't have them have the discussion on screen. So even though most parents in real life would have figured this out months ahead of time, we need them to have this discussion so that the audience knows what the character's name is. It's just one of those. The writers are kind of winking at the audience here a little bit.
You're being pedantic, I think, but okay.
Okay, but what am I not?
Fair enough. I'm just saying. I feel like that's a bit overly critical of this scene.
It's not the scene that I'm being critical of. It's that to make it feel more organic, this discussion should have already happened. But because we are telling a story that an audience needs to see, they have to make this conversation not have finished already so that we as the audience know the character. They could have maybe softballed it in a little bit easier by having them go, okay, we were going to name it this if it was a boy, we're going to name it this if it was a girl, and then. But again, it's a nitpick. I acknowledge it's a nitpick. It's just one of those things. This is very heavy-handed. The writers going, yeah, we know most parents would have had this discussion already, but we have to let the audience know what the character's name is, so heavy-handed.
Move the fuck on now.
Can
we move on now?
Yes. Jelly tarts.
This is Sarai, named for her grandmother.
Jelly tarts.
Well, I was gonna say, okay, if we're getting teasers, I wonder if we're gonna get teasers for like some of the other characters as well.
The only other character that I can see them doing a teaser for would be Erebos, but if they're trying to keep,
I was gonna say Soren.
If they did one for Soren and Claudia, yeah, I could see that working.
All right. Jelly tarts.
Jelly tarts. Do we actually know a date for when Dragon King comes out?
They still have their Kickstarter open, so I feel like that's up in the air.
Okay, so I assume there was some kind of argument between them and Netflix on the production end of whether Netflix would be willing to pay for another couple seasons. Because otherwise, I don't understand why they would need a Kickstarter. They've already got a distributor in Netflix. But if Netflix is doing its usual shortening the story beyond stupidity thing, then maybe. Are the new seasons supposed to come out on Netflix still, or
I don't know.
did they just straight up get canned by Netflix?
Asking the wrong person, don't.
Netflix being potentially stupid again.
When are they not?
Again, press A season 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 when. Anyway, moving on to the next relatively positive thing.
I don't care for it.
I know, but that's probably because you haven't read the book yet. I finally read the book after years of planning to in preparation for watching the first movie. And frankly, I like the book better than I like the musical. That being said, or I guess I should say, Gregory Maguire really rushed the ending, and most of Wicked for Good is going to be the ending where because in the end of Wicked they do a time skip and it tells the quote unquote real story of what happened during the Wizard of Oz events. And even though I really, really like the book, and I really, really like the book a lot, the ending where it tries to tie things in back to the Wizard of Oz rushes things to hell and back. Because I really would have liked to have seen more of the years in between Elphaba becoming the Wicked Witch and Elphaba being the Wicked Witch as in the movie. But that is a criticism I would have had to have made back when I was in like 5th or 6th grade when the novel, or actually no, the novel was already like 10 years old by that point. But I would have had to have somehow invented time travel to give Gregory Maguire that criticism. Anyway, elixir is the appropriate pause word because in the novel yes, yeah, but elixir is the pause word.
Okay.
Couldn't be happier.
It's more important than ever that you lift everyone's spirits. As only you can.
Does that do what I think it does? No.
I don't have anything to say.
Okay, it's interesting that Madame Morrible is still alive because I don't know about the musical, but by this point in the story in the book, Madame Morrible was dead. And in fact, it was kind of a major turning point for Elphaba's character because she wanted to kill Madame Morrible for manipulating her, but Madame Morrible actually died just a couple minutes before Elphaba stormed into her office, or her bedroom rather. But in this version at least, I'm pretty sure Madame Morrible was also dead by this point in the musical, but Madame Morrible was still alive here. That's interesting. So I wonder if they are going to give movie Elphaba the catharsis that Book Alphaba never got, and letting her actually kill Madame Morrible. Anyway, Elixir.
No way! I'm obsessulated.
The wand really sells it.
Because happy is what happens
The girl!
when all your dreams come true.
Okay, so yeah, Madame Morrible is being a passive-aggressive bitch as per usual. The information that anyone who hasn't seen the musical or read the book, or actually no, the book isn't really relevant here because it's not. In the musical version, they changed it so that Glinda doesn't actually have a natural aptitude for sorcery, and Alphaba actually insists that she will only harness her natural magical talent that the wizard needs if Madame Morrible teaches Glinda as well, and they make her the wand to amplify the lack of talent she has for sorcery. So by having Madame Morrible in this trailer emphasize the wand really sells it, it's emphasizing that Glinda doesn't have enough magical talent to do it without the assistive technology. So it's Madame Morrible kind of still being a cunt, as Madame Morrible is wont to do. There's a reason they call her Horrible Morrible in the book. But Elixir.
It's the Wicked Witch! You can wave that wand all you want, but you have no real power.
Okay, so yes, they are explicitly emphasizing that Glinda needs needs assistive technology in order to do magic. Granted, musical Alphaba has more mastery of the Grimmery than book Alphaba does, because while she tries to use it in the book, it's made very clear that she's somewhat limited in her capacity to read the Grimmery, because she's only half human and half Aussian. Again, adding context for those that don't know, in the book, there is a spell book called the Grimmery, and it's unique because it's actually written here in Earth, or on Earth, and someone uses magic to hide it in Oz because no one in Oz can read it, and very few people from Earth can actually make it to Oz. And the reason why Alphaba is half Earthling and half Aussian is because in the book, the wizard of, Wizard of Oz fame is actually a earthbound wizard who makes his way to Oz to find the Grimmery, and in the process ends up seducing Alphaba's mother and dosing her with a magical elixir, which is why Alphaba's skin is green, because of the properties of the elixir. But as a result of being half human and half Aussian, Alphaba can at least read some of the Grimmery, but not all of it. In the musical version, the wizard can't use the Grimmery at all and needs Alphaba's natural magical talent to
Done?
to use it. Sorry.
You're good. I mean, to be fair, we're literally almost done.
Yeah. But Elixir.
Yeah. Shit.
I'm a public figure now. People expect me to lie. Be encouraging.
Oh,
You can't
they're
resist
really
this.
digging into Glinda here.
You know who could.
To be fair, in the book, it's actually a spell cast by Madame Morrible that kind of brainwashes Glinda for most of their lives. Whereas in the musical, Glinda basically just chooses fame and power over her friendship with Elphaba. But anyway, Elixir.
There's a house, and it's flying through the sky.
I'm off to see the wizard.
Bring me the room of the Wicked Witch of the West. So I have proof that she's dead.
I mean, I'm not sure why the broomstick counts as proof in this version, because the broomstick counting as proof in the book makes some kind of sense, because the broom was given to her by Mother Yakel, who is kind of a witch and kind of a demon. It's complicated. And is one of the main sources of Alpha, or one of the main outlets for Elphaba's power. But as far as I remember in the musical, it's just a broom that she happens to enchant. I'm not sure why the broomstick in this version counts as proof that she's dead, because it's not really as special to her as it was either in the original L. Frank Baum book or in the Gregory Maguire book. So, but then again, the wizard is an airhead in the musical version, and in the adaptation, he's played by Jeff Goldblum, so he might just be being dumb. Lol. Elixir.
Well, I was gonna say it can't really get a body because water and stuff.
True, but in the book, he doesn't tell Dorothy about her weakness to water, so I'm not sure how. So unless they're changing that here, which I don't think he even mentioned it in the musical either. So unless they're changing that here, she doesn't know about the witch's weakness to water.
I'm just saying that you need some type of proof.
In the musical version, I believe it's the hat that's usually the proof. Although in the musical version, Alphaba actually fakes her own death and survives, and winds up going off with the Scarecrow, who is actually a former lover of hers, Fiero, that she met in school. In the book version, he was horribly tortured by the wizard's enforcers, because the wizard is basically a fascist dictator of Oz in the Wicked books. Which, to be fair, I mean, that is in keeping with the wizard's whole, fake George Orwell smoke and mirrors thing that's always been a thing with the wizard. So that's one of the reasons I don't have a problem with it, even though, like, the Gregory Maguire Oz books are very different from the L. Frank Baum Oz books. Anyway, Elixir.
Alright, okay.
Stop this. It's gone too far. Elphaba, they're coming for you.
Just look at me. Not with your eyes, but theirs.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives.
Okay, now I'm curious, because Defying Gravity is actually the halfway point song of the musical, and the people behind the adaptation of the musical said that they decided to split it in half because they want to add more stuff from the book into the musical adaptation. So I'm curious if they're going to add Elphaba's attempt to assassinate Madame Morrible on the Ozian equivalent of Christmas, which is called Lurlinmus, if I can talk properly. So I'm curious if they're actually going to bring back the terrorist angle from the book, because her wicked reputation comes from Alphaba being a terrorist in the name of stopping the wizard's quasi-fascist bullshit. That's why she's referred to as wicked, because she's a freedom fighter against the wizard, and the wizard's propaganda regime twists that into her being wicked. Anyway, Elixir.
Here's the plan. I have no plan.
Well, I do.
Oh, thank Oz.
Haven't you heard? I'm the Wicked Witch of the West.
Okay, small nitpick, but it's still important. In both the L. Frank Baum books and the Gregory Maguire books, the wizard takes the name Oz to give his regime false legitimacy, because Oz is normally ruled by a line of queens known as the Ozmas. So, based on world building, she probably should have said thank Ozma rather than thank Oz, because both Glinda and Alphaba know at this point in the story that the wizard calls himself Oz just for PR, essentially. Just to make himself seem more legitimate in the eyes of the people of Oz. But anyway, Elixir.
Like a seed dropped by a sky bird in the distance.
This is the work of the Wicked Witch.
You can say I've been changed for the better because I
I'm excited for this. I'm really excited for this. Like I say, I like the book better. Although to be fair, because they allowed themselves more time and more padding with splitting the movie in half, they did bring a lot of stuff that was only in the book into the previous half of the musical. So I'm hoping that trend continues and we get to see a little bit more of book Alphaba and book Glinda and the book world building. The book world building is actually really good. I want to read the rest of the Gregory Maguire Oz books at some point. I've only finished the first one though, which is of course Wicked. But Elixir.
I like the look of the Tin Man here, actually. Kind of reminds me of
Sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought.
It kind of reminds me of some of the designs I remember from Face Off. It was for those who don't know what Face Off is, it was a sci-fi channel series where makeup artists would be given challenges each week to create different makeups for movies.
It was one of those competition shows, and my fucking god, it was amazing. I wish they never stopped doing it.
So that, and I also wish they continued Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
That one I didn't like quite as much, although a crossover format between those two would have been really cool.
Okay, I'm curious, why didn't you like it?
It was very obviously trying to do what Face Off did with makeup effects, but for production design. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just it never grabbed hold of me in quite the same way as Face Off did. I kind of wish that they had added more production design elements to Face Off rather than making a whole other show based on it. but that's me nitpicking. The thing I was going to say is I also really like the Tin Man's design here because it does kind of stay true to the spirit of both versions of the Tin Man story in the original Al Frank Baum, and probably also they're going to emphasize the slightly different backstory he has in the Wicked book, which is okay. So in Gregory Maguire's Oz books, the Wicked Witch of the East is a religious fanatic, and she kind of sees her studying sorcery as her becoming a saint of the unnamed god, which is loosely implied to be like Christianity imported from Earth. And she gets asked by someone to prevent a farmhand from pursuing the farmer's daughter, and her solution to this is to put a spell on the axe so that the guy who the farmhand that the farmer doesn't want pursuing his daughter keeps cutting off body parts if he keeps pursuing her, and that's the origin of the Tin Woodsman in the Gregory Maguire Oz books. In both versions, it's a spell placed on the axe by the Wicked Witch of the East, and he has to replace his body parts with tin. But in one of these, it's because she's just evil, and in the other one, it's because she's a prude who doesn't like the idea of people copulating outside of marriage. So she agrees to put the spell on the axe to stop this farmer's daughter from philandering with this farmhand. It's very like dark body horror implications there. Anyway, Elixir.
What have you done to me?
Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed.
Think of what we can do together.
For good.
I do like. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna make mention that I actually did a job at work about a month or so ago, putting up that involved Wicked for Good cereal.
I don't know why that's a cereal, but I kind of love it. I'm gonna have to get some at some point.
Obviously, I think it's promotional stuff, but
Right, obviously it's promotional. I'm curious why they thought to themselves, "Hey, let's make a cereal out of this."
I think no, I don't think it was any other brand that just had the packaging. It was like I think cinnamon green apple cereal green apple cereal, and I think for Glinda it was like some type of strawberry.
Oh, that's cool. Two different kinds of cereal for the two different characters, and of course, green apple works two ways because obviously green for Alphaba's skin, but also apple being poisoned apple and all the apple imagery for witches and so on. But speaking as the token witch on the podcast here, I can confirm I do love apple flavored things. Don't really like green apples though; they're too tart. Apples should be sweeter.
I don't think I've ever had cider.
You've never had apple cider.
Not to my recollection. No, granted, I have blocked out much of my life, so I might have and have forgotten.
I would offer to send you some, but A, I don't know how we could keep it refrigerated while we moved it, and B, I love you, man, but short of giving you some when we meet up in real life, which I probably will do, I am not sacrificing the first gallon of apple cider of the year so that you have the opportunity to try some. As I recall, you don't really like fruit anyway. So there's that.
See, I don't like the actual fruit because most of the time mainly apples, because every time I got into a fucking apple, it's rotten. I don't know what the fuck that is about.
If we ever meet up in real life and for some reason you wind up coming and visiting me instead of the other way around, which would be stupid, but if that ever happens, we should do it during the fall months so I can actually take you apple picking, because there are actually several apple orchards around my area that we could go do apple picking at. And you could actually try some real good apples for once.
That sounds so gay.
To be fair, consider who you're talking to.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
I make no apologies for my fabulousness.
You died.
Thanks for asking.
You died a little inside when you said that, didn't you?
I did, but it was worth it to get your confused and cringy reaction to it.
Was it though? Was it?
Yep. Yeah. No, it is. It is. It's always worth it. As much as it pains me on the inside, it is usually worth it to get the like conflicted, cringing response that I always get when I do it.
Okay. Anyway, that's it for this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we'll get anything out of 5 seconds. November 21st, it comes out.
I mean, I kind of wish they should have either made it come out for Halloween because Wicked Witch, or gone the whole way and made it a Christmas movie. But I'm fine. It'll still be in theaters around Christmas. But it's another one of those Hollywood. Learn to utilize the IPs that you have and the release dates that you have correctly. Either release it for Halloween because Wicked Witch, or release it for Christmas because it's a over-the-top, family-oriented musical Christmas movie. One of these two would have been the sensible option. Why in the fuck is it in the middle of no man's land? Although I guess, depending on when Thanksgiving is this year, I guess they could have made it a Thanksgiving release. I don't know when Thanksgiving is this year because it always moves around.
All right,
in which case, fair enough. If it's a Thanksgiving release, that's fine too.
I know Dawn wanted to cover this badly.
Yeah,
Season 2
finally has been season 2.
Yeah, season 2 teaser trailer, which is only 48 seconds long.
And now that Amazon owns the entire streaming rights to the Helliverse, we can get crossovers between Stolas and Alistair, which is just my everything at this point.
Oh, sorry. Fucking back.
Mm-hmm. But Jambalaya.
I gotta ask, what do you think of the new hotel?
I like it. I mean, it is comparatively over-designed, but that's the whole point, and it's supposed to kind of be a status symbol for how far we came in season 1. And I do like that Lucy is in the penthouse suite. From what I've heard, spoiler-wise, he and Alistair actually bury the hatchet and become friendly. In season 2.
Do we see that, or is it just happens in between both seasons? Because
no, it's supposedly, according to some of the animatics that got leaked and released, there are going to be like entire episodes where Alistair and Lucy bond, and I'm okay with that.
I'm gonna reserve. Again, I want to make it clear. I have nothing against this show. or anything like it. It just didn't grab me when I tried to watch it.
Mhm.
So I'm not really gonna have much of an opinion on this, as much as Dalton.
I, on the other hand, am going to lean whole hog into the stereotypically gay shit and say that my friend got me to watch Has Been on the basis of he knew I would love Alistair, and he was correct about me loving Alistair. So I am full tilt on the Has Been Hotel team unless and until they do something that fucks it up. Please, for the love of all that is unholy, do not fuck it up. I really, really want to like this franchise. It's the first genuinely new franchise I have liked in many, many years that I didn't have a direct hand in creating. Because obviously all the ones that me and Brainstormer have built together are far above Has Been on the new IPs I've grown to love list. But the ones I was actually, instrumental in helping to create, notwithstanding, Has Been Hotel is the first mainstream IP from scratch that I have liked in a very, very long time. And I need more of those because all those battles with social justice that we have occasionally sour me on the very idea of being a creative sometimes. Again, to be fair, not the ones I've worked on with Brainstormer, but it gets really hard to have any sort of faith in Hollywood these days, man, because they just don't. They're not good at using the IPs that they've already established, and they're almost next to never making new worthwhile IPs. So, all hail the Helliverse until and unless they fuck it up. Please don't fuck it up. I want to love this show. But Jambalaya.
War is coming. You're either with me or against me.
Hell will rise!
Shove it up a TV port, you pompous dickhead. If those are my only options, consider me definitely on the not with you team here.
So I'm gonna be honest. I think I said this when we were talking about the first season.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really weird that it's almost a de-escalation of threat from heaven to facing hell when it kind of should have been the other way around, I think, for the first season.
I think because Bibbidi originally wanted season 1 to be 16 episodes, but A24 and Prime were only willing to risk 8 episodes, so she had to pare back a lot of what would have been background stuff in season 1, which would presumably given more of a spotlight to the V's.
Okay, I do think it's again. Maybe it's just me. Maybe should have reworked it to have the V's be the main antagonist of the first season and build up Heaven as a threat.
I think for the purposes of establishing the premise, starting with Heaven makes sense. Especially given that now the only one that's explicitly against Has Been Hotel and Hell in general is Loot, and presumably Emily and Sarah are still very much Sarah is begrudgingly probably going to be on Charlie's side, and Emily is Emily is just her fucking heavenly equivalent at this point. I assume what they're doing. I assume what Bibbidi Pop is doing is letting the interior politics of Hell fill the void while we set up the larger like stuff for later seasons. Like I know at some point they are planning to actually. This was something I was going to tell you. I didn't get a chance to tell you when we were last discussing Hazbin Hotel. And I know it's going to be bittersweet for you because I also loved our geeking out about this, but they are actually introducing a version of God at some point, apparently. Or at least that's the scuttlebutt. I don't know when God is coming into the proceedings, but I did hear that they are setting up that God is going to be a thing. Granted, it probably won't be as good as our fanficified version of it, because, guys, we basically did a whole shit ton of world building for Hazbin Hotel.
Oh, yeah, we were
just
like, I'm not
in
gonna
the
lie.
realms, just in the realms of fan fiction, because we came up with the idea for God, and it snowballed into a whole ass thing.
I think that's real Dr. Venkman. I've never seen it on here. Good to see you. We need a Jared Stevens Fate movie to cheer Dalton up.
I'm going to slowly murder you, Venkman. I will pick your fucking fingernails off one at a time, and then I will slowly pluck every piece of hair you have ever grown on your body off of it, inch by fucking inch. And then, finally, you will know the level of pain you have caused me with that fucking Jared Stevens meme all these years. I swear to fucking God. But yeah, Venkman hasn't been in the audience for this show since that one video response we did to the Joker review back in the day. That's still one of my favorite episodes of the entire show we've done.
That was a long one. That was a long while ago.
That was. It's one of the few times Corrupt has actually managed to be on the show, despite the fact that he gets equal billing in the title sequence. Someday I'm gonna bitch at him for that, but to be fair, Corrupt is one of the few people I know who have more medical problems than I do, so I can't quite bitch at him as much as I would like about it.
Shall we continue?
Yes, Jambalaya.
So be ready for some breaking news.
October 29th.
Okay, thank you, Prime, for actually knowing upon which side your bread is buttered. A few days before Halloween is perfect for this show.
I mean, I would have done it in early October so people can watch it over the course of the month, but that's just me.
Yeah, but they're not doing an episode by episode release strategy like Agatha All Along did. If they did it that way, I would agree with you. But given that Prime tends to drop things either in one solid binge or in two chunks, no, that's pretty perfect. That's pretty perfect casting or pretty perfect timeline planning.
All right.
But again, thank you, Prime, for actually being on point with your fucking release dates.
RDV, haven't seen you on E's channel in a while. Wanted to make sure you were still alive.
I am in fact still alive. I got busy. There are plans to move in the offing, and something happened to my dad that took me out of circulation for a week or so. And then this last weekend I was busy because I finally got something fun to do and went to a Ren fair. But yeah, I've been busy. There are plans to move in the offing, and like I said, something happened to my dad that made me preoccupied for a bit.
Jambalaya.
Jambalaya. I want this to be good. Please let me help me help you, Vivica. Please. I want this to be good. I really, really do.
All right, well, that kind of was everything.
Yep. It's a very short week this week because we decided to go light on stuff this week so that we can have more time and energy to plan for October themed stuff.
Yeah. He's asking, did you get the giant turkey leg?
No. This year I actually found a gourmet fair food stand, and somebody was selling duck wings at said stand, and they were fucking delicious. It's the first time I've ever had duck. I was not disappointed. It's been on my culinary bucket list for years, but I have finally had duck and was not disappointed.
I need more of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Everyone could use more of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, but honestly, you couldn't make Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy today. They would get canceled so quickly because of the edgy nature of Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Honestly, the best thing they could do if they really wanted to kind of revive Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, give Hector Concarne his own show finally, and actually let that half of the IP do some heavy lifting for a bit, because Hector Concarne got robbed. As much as I love General Scar as Billy's neighbor, yeah, I miss the days when it was still grim and evil. Which reminds me, it's almost Halloween, which means I get to watch Billy and Mandy's Jacked Up Halloween again. Hooray!
I dig Underfist.
I think it's a generational thing. I think that's one of those weirdly specific differences between us because of the 4-year gap.
I don't look. Yeah, I like Jacked Up Halloween. I like Underfist as well. Like,
right. I don't mind Underfist, and genuinely, I do wish I could see the universe where that spinoff happened, especially because it would have piggybacked off of the like peak of the superhero boom. You would have basically had a spooky version of the Avengers, and of course, anything with Fred Fredberger in it will always be kind of endearing because you just root for the guy, no matter how like annoying his innocence can be. You can't help but root for Fred when things are up against the wall. Also, I would have liked to have seen Erwin come into his own, because for being like half mummy and half vampire, dude needs to come into his own. Especially because, does anyone remember the episode where Erwin got bitten by the wereflea?
it's been a while, man.
Because, like, I could have sworn there was an episode where Erwin got bit by a wereflea. So if they remembered that for the sake of continuity, he could be part vampire, part werewolf, and part mummy. There is absolutely no way he's making it out of puberty without being a badass.
All right. Okay, just because I am still tired from an earlier event of my life today, I do think we are going to call it there. And next week, we are going to go full throttle into October. So we'll see you all there.
Yep. Sweet October country.
Yes. With that, folks, I want to say goodbye. Adios. Aloha. Avideze. Sayonara. Peace. Cheers. And
shalom. See you in October. And fuck off.